Okay, so let me just go back a step so that it can be captured in a recording. So we're talking about the communication skills of the IT professional, and you are supposed to know that to get information for troubleshooting a problem a customer is facing, you might need to get information from the customer. Now, for you to get this information properly, you need to possess good communication skills. Now, most people who need a computer problem fixed are probably feeling some stress. So there's a way you need to approach them. And if you establish a good rapport with the customer might relax a bit. So there's a way you approach people. You don't just shout on them like the way some persons do. I've walked into so many places, even some places like an eatery or maybe a supermarket where you go to buy something. The person selling would have a very, very absurd attitude and very bad communication skills. And after that, they wouldn't like to um buy or purchase any grocery in such store again because of that bad um customer service. So a relaxed customer is more likely to be able to provide the information that you need to determine the source of the problem and then fix it. So you must always be calm and know and understand how to ease the stress of people. So the relationship between the communication skills and professional behavior. If you are talking with a customer in person, that customer can see your body language. If you are talking with a customer over the phone, that customer can hear your tone and inflection. So customers can also sense whether you are smiling when you are speaking with them on the phone. Many call center technicians use a mirror at their desks to monitor their facial expression. So you can see how far a call technician will go to see how they can please a customer. You know, one of the major areas of working in a company is proper customer service. In fact, there are so many companies now that if as a worker for those companies, if you don't have good customer service, you're not going to work for them. If you don't have good, um, you're not a good team player. Let's assume you're working with a team. You're not a good team player. You don't relate with your teammates well. You're going to lose that job because these are part of the things that make a company grow. So just like when you're seeing the customer one on one, the person can see your facial expression physically. The person can read your body language. You know, as a human being, you don't usually need to communicate with your mouth or say I'm angry for someone to know that you're angry. Just by the look on your face and by your gestures or the look on your eyes, the person you're talking to would be able to read that, oh, this person is angry or this person is annoyed or stressed out. So stressful technicians control their own reactions and emotions from one customer call to the next. So you can be stressed as a result of handling several customers or as a result of work. So one thing you should always primarily do is that stress should not affect the way you relate to people. There are so many persons with the issues that once they are tired or once someone makes them angry, the rest of the persons that are going to deal with the day is going to get a piece of that anger. That's very, very, very wrong and very bad. You can't um, make a company succeed with such attitude. So a good rule for all technicians to follow is that a new customer call means a fresh start. Never carry your frustration from one call to the next. Know, relate, and understand. One of the first tasks a technician is to identify customers of total problem. So, and some of the rules is that you should know, you should be able to relate, and should be able to understand. So, knowing means that you call your customer by his or her name, ask if there is any name in particular that they prefer you to use. Sometimes, if you notice, if you've called MTN customer care before, any customer care service for any service provider, they actually see the name on your, when you call them, they actually see your name, but they still ask you, what is your name? And after they ask you what's your name, because that, for them to use that phone to call you doesn't necessarily mean that that is your phone. But some persons can end up saying, you are seeing my name already. Why can't you just, why are you asking me my name? You don't need to know my name. That these are part of customer services. For you to know the customer's identity and know what you should address him or her with. So also, for example, now if a customer tells you her name is Mrs. Johnson, as if that is what she prefers to be called by you, she may say yes, or she may give you her first name. In any case, only use the preferred name with your customer. So you can see that now. So Mrs. Johnson, you can also ask, okay, so I can call you Mrs. Johnson, or okay, Mrs. Johnson, right? And that's a way to deduce. No, and the person can also correct. No, 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 no. Mrs. Benny, Mrs. Benny, Mrs. Benny. I prefer Mrs. Benny. Yeah, okay, you now say, okay, Mrs. Benny. So how may I help you? And you can go on, flow from there. So create a one-on-one connection with your customer. That's what it means to relate. So for example, you find something you may have in common without giving too much information. If you hear a dog barking in the background of the call, you say, oh, you have a dog? Then briefly ask about their dog. If you have had to call customer support for your own computer, mention that you understand how frustrating this can be, that you do everything you can to help them. You see, this kind of words actually gives people confidence and enable them to understand and know and trust that you can solve their problem. Next, you should understand, determine your customer's level of knowledge about the computer to help you best communicate with them. For example, a customer is very new to computer, a customer who is very new to computer will not likely know all of the jargon that you use every day. So there's a lot of technical words you might now be using. The customer can get confused and more frustrated. So you should be able to understand the person's experience from the words the customers might use when communicating with you. So you have to use, you yourself, you have to use common words you think of to describe aspects of the computer. A more experienced customer probably knows some of the same jargon that you use. For example, tell the customer to press, okay, once tell the customer, let me say a person's keyboard, customer's keyboard system is making a noise, a beep, a constant beep. That could be that the keyboard is actually pressing itself on startup. Then you now ask the customer, whenever you turn on your system, just press escape. The customer will ask you, please, where is escape? You can imagine that kind of thing. But if you tell the customer like this, okay, whenever that noise starts again, when you turn on your computer and it starts to make that noise, press the first key on your keyboard. The first key at the top left of your keyboard, you see ESC. That is actually the escape key. It actually helps you escape from such experiences. You go to, oh, I see. Okay, I'm going to try that. Try that now. The person is going to try it, and you will see that you're going to be able to solve or relate with that customer properly because you have understood the level of knowledge that customer has. So active listening. Allow your customer to tell you the whole story. You're not rushing. This is actually your work as a technician to really understand what the customer is passing through. So you must be very, very patient to hear the full story. Do not interrupt the customer to ask a question or make a statement. Listen carefully when your customers speak and let them finish their thoughts. An open-ended question usually involves information about what the customer was doing, what they were trying to do, and why they are frustrated. After listening to the customer explain the whole problem, summarize what the customer has said. Follow-up questions now should be targeted. So after a customer tells you, okay, I was trying to do this and my son came in, I don't know what he pressed, and all of a sudden I couldn't find my mouse anymore. But I connected, my mouse was now showing on my TV screen. I don't know how that happened. I don't know what plug my children plugged. And so after a customer has finished, now say, oh, I see. So your mouse disappeared from your laptop screen. Like, yes, 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 my mouse disappeared from my laptop screen. And now it's showing on your TV screen. Okay, it means you now ask, did you plug any HDMI cable to your from your laptop to your TV? The customer was like saying no. Okay, check if any cable is plugged from your laptop to your TV. Customer can now confirm. Okay, cable is plugged. Okay, and I say yes. So that means your TV, your laptop screen is being extended to your TV. So that's why your mouse is now showing on your TV. Now take your mouse to the leftmost part of your TV screen. The person is going to follow you, and the person will find out that, oh, I can now see my mouse on my laptop screen again. So using professional behavior with the customer, do not minimize the customer's problem. Do not use jargon, abbreviations, acronyms, and slangs. Do not use negative attitude or tone of voice. Do not argue with the customer or behave defensive. Do not say culturally intensive remarks. Do not disclose any experiences with customers on social media. Do not be judgmental or insulting call or call the customer names. Avoid distractions and do not interrupt when talking with customers. Do not take personal calls when talking with the customer. Do not talk to co-workers about unrelated subjects when talking with the customer. I see when you're talking with your customers, you have to focus on the customer. Whether you are having an emergency call or not, focus on the customer. You are not to receive any other call when working on a help desk. So avoid unnecessary holds and abrupt holds. Do not transfer a call without explaining the purpose of the transfer and getting the customer's consent. So sometimes a call might be need to be transferred to another technician. For example, is now beyond your level of the level of your job description. So you need to transfer the call to the person with higher level of job description to attend to that same problem. So you have to let the customer know that you're going to be transferring the call now to the person that is going to deal with that particular issue. So you have to convince the customer so the customer can fully understand why you are not doing that. So always do not use jargons, do not use applications or ASAP. Please, okay, do turn it on ASAP or etc. Just slangs and the rest. So you're supposed to stay away, avoid such words because you are in an official setting. So tips for hold and transfer. When dealing with a customer, it is necessary to be professional in all aspects of your role. You must handle customers with respect and prompt attention. When on a telephone, make sure that you know how to place a customer on hold, as well as how to transfer a customer without losing the call. So those are technical things that you should be able to do. That's based on job description now on in your workplace. It's a way to transfer call. It's a way to bring someone else into the call and you leave the call for the person. So how do you put the customer on hold? Let the customer finish explaining the problem. Say that you must put the customer on hold and explain why. For example, when talking with the MTN customer care, they might say, okay, give me a minute. I'm checking it right now. Okay, are you still with me? You see them still talking. You're on hold, right? But you still keep on saying, okay, I'm contacting uh my support team. Are you still with me? Hello, are you still with me? You see them saying words just so that they can know that the customer can know that they are still with them. Always thank the customer for their patience as you work to fix their problem. You see ATL customer care, they always say thank you for um your patience. Please hold on a bit. Thank you for waiting. Sorry for keeping you. And now, the things that you should not do when holding a customer, interrupt the customer, put the customer on hold without an explanation. Put the customer, for example, now you want to work on something for the customer remotely. You don't say anything about it. You just keep quiet. Don't say anything like that. And you just keep on doing what you're doing. Assume that your time is more valuable than the customer's time. Don't ever assume that your time is more valuable than the customer time. Very, 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 very wrong. It's the customer's time that is much more important. So that's why you should always do things fast so you can solve the customer's problem fast. You're not solving problems fast so you can be free. Because only if you are free, the next customer is going to call in. Now, how to transfer a call? Let the customer finish explaining their problem. Say that you must transfer the call and tell them why you must transfer the call. Tell the customer the name and number of the person they will be speaking with. So you tell the customer who you are transferring to and the person's name. And that starting a call in the first place, you have to introduce yourself. So Still again, do not interrupt the customer. Do not transfer the call without an explanation. Transfer the call with don't do not transfer the call without the customer consent. And as don't assume that your time is more valuable than the customer's time. Keeping the customer call focused. So use proper language, listen and question, give feedback. So let the customer know that you understand the problem and develop a friendly and positive conversation now manner. Like everything I've explained earlier. So let's look at operational procedures. Document overview. So the purpose of documentation overview, the purpose of documentations, for example, when you purchase an asset, let me say, a, or you purchase a gadget, there are documentations that provide description of how the product or the software function through the use of diagrams, descriptions, manual pages, you see illustrations, and these documentations also contain standardized procedures and practices so that they can be repeated accurately in the future. You see step by step on how to execute commands. So also they show you these documentations show you the rules and the restrictions, and they reduce confusions and mistakes, saving time and resources. So they comply with governmental or industry regulations, training new employees or customers. So these are documentations that might contain or might be given. Let me say you want to work in a an IT industry, you'll be given some of these documentations also so that you can understand some of their rules, understand steps on how to do or go about some certain things. So IT department documentation. Keeping documentation current is a challenge for even the best managed IT departments. In general, IT documentation falls into four categories: the policies, the operations, projects, and user documentation. So policy documentations now policy documents actually contains the acceptable use policies that describe how technology is to be used within the organization. For example, a company gives you a laptop, so it gives you the policies of how that laptop should be used, what and what you should be able to do with that laptop, what and what you shouldn't do with that laptop. Security policies that outline all aspects of information security, including password policies and security incident response methods. So it will tell you do not go to do not visit websites above beyond this. Do not visit some of all these websites. They red flag so many websites. They might also even restrict your activity with that particular company asset or company property to just company works. For example, I said in on our previous class that my brother actually has a laptop that his company gave him to work with, although he has his own personal computer, but you do not use your personal computer in your workplace. You only use the laptop that the company gives you. And if you plug any other thing that does not belong to the company to that laptop, you are going to be logged out. Not even logged out, you're going to be locked out of the computer system. So you no longer have access to it. So disaster discovery policies and procedures that provide detailed plans for what must be done to restore services in the event of an outage. Also, operation and planning documents. Now, it actually contains IT strategy and planning, proposals for future projects, and project approvals, meeting presentations and minutes, budget and purchasing records, and inventory management, including hardware and software inventory, license and management methods, such as the use of access tags and barcodes. So you see documentations of for operations where you can access. Let me say you are given a tag now, where you can access with that tag, and also let me say an inventory in. Let me say you're occupying a new position or you are being promoted. The person that was in that office before was either sacked or promoted. So you are not the person occupying. So you have to they'll be giving you a documentation that contains the inventory in. So the inventory you are going to see there, so that when you are even leaving again, you are going to give an inventory out. So the inventory out is, let's say, some other equipment were bought while you were in office. So those will be part of your inventory out while you are leaving, so that it's not that your inventory out to become the inventory in for the next person coming. Project documentations. This it contains user requests for changes, updates, or services or new services, software these project documentations, some projects that are going to be carried out. In those projects, those documentations, you will see your role. So you are going to be part of that project. You are going to see your role. You see who you are going to be interfacing with. Let me say you're grouped into teams. You see your team there. You will see what will be your job description in those project documents. What you will be doing for that particular project. The time frame. Also, there's also a documentation for user documentation. This actually contains the feature, functions, and operation of software, hardware, or service provided by the IT department. End user manuals for hardware and software, help desk ticket database with ticket resolution, searchable knowledge-based articles and facts. So this, when you're given probably a new software, you will see this kind of document that comes with the way that software actually operates. Then also, you might see links to frequently asked questions to the company's official site so you can understand more about those hardwares or properties, assets that were given to you. So, reports and procedures. I think, okay, acceptable use policy. So, reports and procedures, acceptable use policy. This is the AUPN. It is actually the agreement between two or more parties that defines the appropriate user access to resources or services. So, for example, when you're working in a company, there is always an acceptable use policy that is given to you. So you will know when there's going to be limits to the access to the kind of information you can have access to and to the kind of actions you can take. For example, remember when I was explaining some file policies or user policies in a system, administrator, a group user, and the rest. So you see where somebody cannot make changes to a file, somebody can only create new files. So that's something similar to the acceptable use policy. So incident report, also known as an after action report, AAR. This can be used to document an episode of a critical and major incident. These are actually used by incident responders. So when there's an incident, they actually give a report on that incident and how it was actually solved. So standard operating procedures, SOP, this is actually a step-by-step instruction to guide employees on how to use computers and network services efficiently, securely, and are informed of expected responsibility. The main goal of this standard operating procedure is to establish uniformity across the company, create high quality work consistently, and reduce miscommunication. So user checklist, the standard operating procedure can also be in form of a user checklist, new user setup checklist, okay, and end user termination checklist. So when an employee retires or changes job roles or leaves the organization, the end user termination checklist should be part of the offboarding process. So typical process can include take back the device and wipe all data from the device. Let me say you brought your laptop, if your laptop you're using for company work, your laptop is going to be wiped and you're going to transfer and release software. So you're going to release the license to a particular software that your company paid for. Your account is going to be deactivated, your company email is going to be deactivated, and your permissions to have of maybe your private email to some certain company resources will be removed. Then while maybe for a new employee now, you have to set up an account, you have to assign a device, and you are going to receive training, and also you are going to receive documentations to enable you learn about the security policy and data privacy agreements. So knowledge base and articles. A knowledge base is a central repository of articles and documentation that allows users to create, share, and manage knowledge across the organization. So these knowledge base articles, as a new worker in some companies, they will give you some of all these articles to read. You might read them via email or hard copy documentations, and you see things like frequently asked questions there. You see troubleshooting scenarios, internal database to support self-service support, training documents, and links to external legitimate and verifiable knowledge-based articles which are online. So regulatory compliance requirements. So the federal, state, local, and industry regulations can have documentation required over and above what is normally documented in the company's record. So regulatory and compliance policies often specify that data must be collected and how long it must be retained. And some of these regulations might have implications on internal company process and procedures. So while some regulations require keeping extensive records regarding how the data has been accessed and used. So for example, let me say a fintech organization now, when they are keeping money in their app, of course, the government has to be aware. And for example, the central bank, because they are not having if they are having anything to do with opening accounts for Nigerians, the central bank has to be aware that they are doing that for Nigerians, because they're going to make use of our BVN. So which means the federal or state government might have a say or may have data, those data that is being collected, or they might require those to collect data from the federal government. For some example is like all these loan apps. For example, when you borrow money from a loan app and you're being given, of course, the government can interfere. They can request, let me say you're owing a huge sum of money and there is no collateral that they can use to recover such finances. They are going to involve the federal government and they're going to find you and seize you. So asset database. So asset management is the tracking of and management of assets to ensure that they are used properly, maintained, upgraded, and disposed of responsibly at the end of their life cycle. The organization needs an inventory of all the deployed hardware assets along the consumable spare components in case of hardware failures and software assets. So you can see that a company always have this inventory in, inventory out, or a complete database of all the company's properties, all the company's equipment, all the spare parts, and even including that of their vehicles. So that's an example of the asset database system. Asset tags and IDs. Working in conjunction with an asset management database, system can provide up-to-date and accurate information about an asset. An asset tag identifies equipment with a unique serial number, barcode, serial code, or radio frequencies. Now, this asset tags is what is being used in our supermarket. You can always see that they actually use a barcode reader to take the price of a product. When let me say you go to a supermarket, let me say every day or market, because that whatever thing you purchase, show the barcode to the barcode scanner, and before you know it, the price is being entered on their computer system. So that's actually how this asset tags and ID work. It contains the properties of whatever equipment or gadgets you want to buy or you possess in your company. Asset procurement. So procurement life cycle. So when you want to open an asset, so there's some procedures to pass through, which is the planning, procurement, deployment, maintenance, and disposal. Then you have to understand what warranty and licensing has to do with the asset. So planning now involves analyzing the organization's current and future needs, combined with the potential asset impact on business, network, daily operations, and implemented devices is needed before requesting a new or upgraded asset. So you need to understand that, for example, you want to purchase a new printer or a print server that everybody can be using one printer. They need to understand all of these things, understand how it impacts the school, the cost of maintaining that gadget or the printer or print server, and what it takes to perform the operations. For example, you might need to consume, you might be consuming up to 100 um, reams of paper every month. So you need to be purchasing paper every month. So now procurement actually is a budget now is determined and a supplier or vendor is identified to deliver the assets. So now this is where your school now actually buys the printer and the print server. The deployment, the procedure set The property asset can be installed or integrated with other tools in the business. So this is where data now is being installed in, let me say, the ICT lab or studio, and the server is being installed also, plus the network, so that everybody can have access, and everybody is taking access to their computer. Every teacher's computer is being set up so they can send information to the printer or documents to the printer to be printed. Then they go to the ICT lab to pick it up. And also now, maintenance provisions should be made to keep your assets in operating conditions to optimize their use. When an asset reaches the end of life, assets should be sanitized of any data. Sanitized assets can be sold, recycled, donated, or destroyed. So, for example, it has to do with this now. When your school no longer needs a, let me say, a computer system, they want to be full, it's too outdated. So if it has to be sanitized, the data has to be wiped clean so that only outside will not have access to the full data. Let me say the list of the students or the list of the student parent email and all those. Those are very, very sensitive data that people can use out there against the school, which is your school name or the school email address and password that is saved on that computer system. So warranty and licenses for each hardware asset, the invoice, warranty, contract, and contact information should be readily available. For each software asset, license information, subscription-based details, and number of allotted users or devices should be readily available. So you see here that, for example, in Nigeria, a lot of times we like going to go and buy crack. We'll just go to a software shop and give me up to 2016, and they'll give you a disk. That is actually a cracked version. You want to download the list of it, you have to download from the Microsoft website, and that will require you to pay subscription. Okay, now for assigned users, depending on the type of assets, the assets can be assigned to individuals or shared within the entire organization. For example, um, types like I mentioned. So typical assets managed by individuals accounts, managed by individual accounts, things like workstation, laptop, mobile device, smartphone, or tablet. Then software license, shared assets managed by individuals or equity groups within the company are servers, things like servers, routers, your switches, your access point. So servers, Wi-Fi, routers are shared by multiple persons. So when your school sets up a server or sets up an internet or router for the school, it's going to not somebody to have access to it, but multiple persons. Disaster recovery overview. The disaster recovery plan is a comprehensive document that describes how to restore operations quickly and keep critical IT functions running during or after a disaster occurs. The disaster recovery plan can include information such as off-site locations where services can be moved, information on replacing network devices and servers, and backup connectivity options. Now, this an example of this is when you open a site, you can be, let me say you have a website, you're a blogger, you can be attacked by these cyber attackers, and you know that your website is no longer loading, and you just receive an email that you sent so amount of money if you want to get your site back. As an IT professional, you should always have your website backed up on another domain or with another domain name. Then before you know it, you can now relink your previous domain to the new domain. Because that when people type in your previous domain, it's going to, or your previous website is going to open up with another domain, and the clear information and your website will running as usual. So until you have fully resolved that the main website that have been taken advantage of by attackers. So services that might need to be available during and immediately after a disaster include services and internet connectivity, stores and backup files, directory and authentication services, database and application servers, telephone, email, and other communication services. So preventing downtime and data loss. Now, the way to prevent downtime and data loss could include cloud backups and local backups. So the advantage of cloud backup is that it is reliable, providers use the latest technology and can offer other related services such as compression and encryption. So scalability, cloud backups to scale easily. So a business doesn't need to worry that it doesn't have enough storage capacity or media that their data files increase in size. So accessibility, cloud backup files are available anywhere the internet is accessible. That's an advantage of cloud backup. The big disadvantage is that sometimes it can take time. It can take time to back up the data. It can also take time to restore the data. And the continuation of service or increase in pricing. So if the Google closes down, it means that everybody's file that has been backed up on Google Cloud is lost. So that's discontinuation, the effect of data advantage of cloud backup. Now, local backup. The advantage of local backup is that local control where data files reside and who has access to them. So you know that, let me say you have a backup of your full data on a hard drive. If people will have access to that hard drive, because the hard drive has to be in one secure location. Accessibility, so it can be easily accessible. The hard drive can be gotten easily. Speed of file restore, so you can actually plug the hard drive immediately and restore your data. Then the advantage is that it's not scalable. You might, let me say the data now, the hard drive is full. You might now need to go and purchase another hard drive. Now, when you purchase another hard drive, you need to transfer the ones in the old hard drive or just keep the older hard drive to there like that. But when you're using cloud storage, you don't need to be expanding storage because they have enough storage off the cloud. So off-site storage requirements, fire protection, and environmental control. So let me say that hard drive now, you have to keep that drive in a place whereby it cannot be damaged. Let me say when you fall, or you have to give it like an armor that it can withstand a lot of pressure, or let me say fire incident, or let me say a road accident. Now, ethical and legal consideration. So respect your customers as well as their property. Now, for example, when troubleshooting a customer's computer, you do not handle that computer as though it is your own, or it's a computer, or within professional, like the way some Nigerians do. A professional, they just open your computer, flip it upside down, move the screen. They don't put the screws completely back. In fact, they never put the screws completely back. When you take your phone out to repair, you find that screw is missing. You now find that your phone is open in one place, or they just ask you for your password and that, and they start pressing your password into your phone without your permission because they saw you pressing the password. They now know your password. So that's a lot of violation on its own. So companies and monitors are property, but property also includes any information or data that might be accessible. For example, emails, phone list and contact with records or data on the computer, hard copies of files, information or data left on a disk. So when you're taking your computer to the computer as a technician, you should also ensure that the information of the customer are being secure. When you want to fix your computer, your gadget, and ensure you do not give out your password, except it is required that you unlock your phone. This is a software issue. So they need to open up your phone or unlock your phone to have access to some user settings. Before accessing computer accounts, including the administrator account, get the permission of the customer. So you should always get permission from your customer before having access to their administrator account or any account. So you don't just open the computer and log in. Now, this is PII, which is the personal identifiable information. So this might include the customer's name, which is the full name, the customer's identification number, it could even be the NIN number or passport number or driver's license number or taxpayer identification number or financial account or credit card number, address information such as street address or email address. And it could also personal characteristics, including for the person's images, fingerprint, handwriting, or biometric data. Biometric data includes the person's voice data, the person's retina scan, which is the iris scan, the person's facial biometric data. Now, personal identifiable information are regulated by several organizations in the United States, and depending on the type of data, the General Data Protection Regulation also regulates how data is handled for personal data, including financial and healthcare information. And this has to do with the United States. So, payment card industry. This information on your payment card is considered personal information that needs to be protected. So, information on your ATM card, your debit card, to be protected. Especially most of us are just usually going to do POS anyhow, and we just give the person a ATM card. You're not even watching if the person is looking at the card number there. People that a lot of guys, you see all these cyber attackers are very, very intelligent. They can cram at sight, they can memorize at sight or on site. Once they see it like this, they grab your number and they also look at you while you're pressing your pin, or they look at you while you're pressing your pin on their POS machine. They might and even install a software on the POS machine that can record your password and record your ATM card data. So these are security risks that come with some of all these services. Protected health information. Now that's PHI. It's another form of personal identifiable information that needs to be secure and protected. So it includes the patient name, the address, date of visit, telephone, fax number, email address, and we move from paper copy records to electronic records. Electronic protected health information, which is PHI, is also regulated. Penalties of breaches of the PHI, which is personal health information, or EPHI, electronic personal health information, are very severe and regulated by the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Some of us need to have insurance, especially for your health. It's very, very important. Legal considerations, guys. The law is different. The laws in different countries and legal decisions vary, but generally, actions such as the following are considered to be illegal. It is not permissible to make any changes to system software or hardware configuration without customer permission. It is not permissible to access the customers or co-workers' accounts, private files, or email messages without permission. It is not permissible to install, copy, or share digital content, including software, music, text, images, and videos, in violation of copyright and software agreement or the applicable law. Copyright and trademark law vary between states, countries, and regions. For example, all these guys, they want to fix your phone now. You have access to your password, they unlock your phone, they start sending music from your phone to their phone. In the US, overseas is very different. All these songs, they are actually paid for most times. Not all of them are free to listen. So for you to get the original song, there are some songs you can't download online because before you can get the original one, you have to pay money to get it. So let me say somebody pays money to get it, and all of a sudden you now go and send this to your phone via Zenda. They can even get it because overseas most of the things are online, so they can get the information on your phone, and you are going to pay. So it also includes it's not that it's not permissible for use the customer's company IT resource for commercial purposes, and it's not permissible to knowingly use a customer's company resource for illegal activities, criminal or illegal use typically includes obscenity, child pornography, threat, harassment, copyright infringement, internet privacy, university trademark infringement, defamation, theft, identity theft, and unauthorized access. It's also not permissible to share sensitive customer information. You are required to maintain customer confidentiality of this data. Now, licensing. It is illegal to use licensed software without the appropriate license. We do this a lot in Nigeria. We just go and download crack. I said it before. An example of a personal software license is an end user license agreement, and an enterprise license is a software license held by a company for its employees to use. If when you're working in a company, you might have access to um, Microsoft Office, Adobe Reader, and the rest, because the company is going to cater for the payment of all those resources. But you might not be allowed to use those softwares on the company system for private work. Computer forensics. Data from computer systems, networks, wireless communications, and storage devices may need to be collected and analyzed in the course of a criminal investigation. The collection and analysis of data for this purpose is called computer forensics. In the process of information forensics encompasses both the IT and specific laws to ensure that the data collected is admissible as evidence in court. So, for example, when there is a crime and the crime was actually, let me say, someone came in, broke into your house, use your computer system to do some kind of cyber attack, and they come into your system. So they'll come to do some computer forensics on your computer system, get data, get all the, you see, things like your webcam. Like I said, it's possible to get all the feed of your webcam when you're connected to the internet. Then also they go through the files, previous you go to the system log to find out all the actions that have been taken by that system in order to investigate that crime. That's called computer forensics. Just like when somebody kills somebody, they now go and perform forensics on the equipment. Let me say the knife that was left behind, or on the cup that was used, or the person's clothes, DNA tests and all that, or on the dead body to know how the person died. That's the forensics. So data collected in computer forensics, there are two basic types of data, which is the persistent data and the volatile data. So persistent data is stored in the local drive, such as the internal storage. The hard, that's your hard drive or external hard drive, or optical drive, that's your CD-ROMs and the rest. When computer is turned off, this data is preserved. Then volatile data, RAM, cache, and registries contain volatile data. Data is transit between a storage medium and a CPU, and is also volatile data. So if you are reporting illegal activities or are part of an incident response team, it is important to know how to capture this data because it disappears as soon as the computer is turned off. So let me say a computer was left on. There's a way to capture some of the data. You know how information was processed from your cache, your RAM, your CPU, and the rest. So there's a way to get the data that has been stored on the RAM temporarily, because once the computer goes off, those data will be lost. So cyber law is a term to describe international, regional, country, and state laws that affect computer security professionals. IT professionals must be aware of cyber laws so that they understand their responsibility and their liability as it relates to cyber crimes. Cyber laws explain the circumstances under which data evidence can be collected as storage device, the networks, and wireless communications. They can also specify the manner in which the data can be collected. In the US, cyber law has three primary elements, which is the Wiretap Act, Trap and Trace statutes called Electronic Communication Act. IT professionals should be aware of the cyber laws in the country, region, or state. So in Nigeria also there are also bodies that take care of these things. It's not just SARS. Most important, most the one that has been familiar is the SARS, the class that searching for Yahoo Boys and the rest. That was that year. So first response. First response is used to describe the official procedures employed by those people who are qualified to collect evidence. Now, for example, let me say example of this first response, the persons that come and collect data or perform the computer forensics. That's an example of first response. So runtime administrative tasks can affect the forensics process. The forensics process is effectively performed. Evidence that has been collected might not be admissible in court. You see that means that forensics that comes to collect the data for forensics, perform the computer forensics should be the first to actually get into the scene. So they can, because once those data are being or the computer has been tampered with other people, those evidence now that are going to bring to computer forensics will not be valid again in the court. So you may be the person who discovers illegal computer or network activity. Do not turn off the computer. Further data about the current state of the computer can include programs that are running, network connections that are present, and users who are logged in to the computer or the computer. This data helps to determine the logical timeline of security incidents. It may also help to identify those responsible for the illegal activity. So be familiar with your policies regarding cyber crimes. Know who to call, what to do, and just as importantly, know what not to do. So you must know what not to do so you do not involve yourself in the crime and you become a suspect. Documentation. If you discover illegal activity on a computer network on which you are working, it's a minimum. Document the following. Initial reason for accessing the computer or network. You have to document the time and date, document the peripherals that are connected to the computer, document all network connection, physical area where the computer is located, the legal material that you have found, illegal activity that you have witnessed or suspected, or you suspect as occurred, which procedures you have executed on the computer or network. This documentation you have to do is just so that you can be safe and you will not be taken as a suspect. Chain of custody. So to improve the chain of custody, first responders have documentations, procedures in place that track the collected evidence. So these procedures actually prevent evidence from being tampered with so that the integrity of the evidence is maintained. Then this, for example, when this computer, sometimes it could be a laptop. So that laptop is going to be kept in a place whereby it's not going to be tampered with, and to be ensured that that laptop is continuously or always have power. So they can do maybe fingerprint is this fingerprint was left on the laptop, going to get that data and the rest. So there are a lot of things that are put in place so that those some of all these data are being preserved. So these procedures help you to capture necessary data in the event network breach, ensuring the viability and integrity of the captured data to prosecute the intruder. Now, lastly, we're talking about the call center technicians. A call center environment is organized and professional. Customers call in to receive computer-related help. The workflow of a call center starts with calls from customers displayed on a board. So there's actually a board where so many customers will be playing. For example, when you call customer care, it's not one person that will respond to you. In fact, you can call 10 times and you finalize different persons that will respond to you. So that's because they all work in the call center. And there's actually something called the customer call board where queue of customers that are calling. That's why sometimes, let me say, all the personnel in the call center are engaged at the moment. They will not tell you, for example, if they will not tell you, hold on, we are transferring you to a customer representative. Now we play music for you just to keep you on hold. They'll keep on music on loop like this. That's because there's actually a call queue and you are waiting to be attended to. So call centers might exist within a company and offer services to the employees of that company as well as the customers of that company's products. Alternatively, the call center might be an independent business that sells support as the services to outside customers. In either case, a call center is busy, fast-paced work. It's a busy, fast-paced work environment, often operating 24 hours a day. For example, if you tell them customer care at midnight, call them 1 a.m. to pick. Call them 3 a.m. to pick up your call. So call centers in Computers in call centers have support software that technicians can use to manage many of their job functions, log and track incidents, record contact information, research product information, run diagnosis utilities, research knowledge base, collect customer feedback. Now, each call centers have business cases regarding call priority. Consider this simple chart of how calls can be named, defined, and authorized. For example, down, the company cannot operate any of its computer equipment. So that's when they're not say something is down, the network is down at the moment, or hardware. These are things that you experience even in banks. So hardware, one or more of the company's computer is not functioning correctly, and that is very, very urgent. So when you hear server is down in the bank, you know that it's a very, very urgent case that they are always working on immediately. Software, one or more companies is experiencing software operating system errors. Network, one or more of the company's computers cannot access the network. The enhancement, it has been a request from the company for additional computer functionality. So these are just different for prioritization. The call center. So call centers sometimes have different names or level of or for level one technicians. So there's something called the level one technicians and their responsibilities. The primary responsibility of level one technician is to gather pertinent information from the customer. So you have to get the customer information. What is the manufacturer and model of the computer the person is using? What operating system the computer is using? Is the computer plugged into the wall or running on battery power? Is the computer on a network? What any was any specific application being used when the problem occurred? Have any new drives or updates been installed recently? So, what are the description of the and priority of the problem? So, these are all the responsibilities of a level one technician. You can see the person is not doing anything about executing or solving any problem. His own is just to retrieve information from the customer. Now, for the level two, call centers sometimes have different names for the level two technicians. Technicians might be known as product specialists or technical support personnel. So you can hear they'll say, well, we're going to contact, you see the level one technician will say, okay, I'll contact my technical support team to solve your issue. So you might now receive another call, or the call will be on hold and it will be transferred to the technical support team. Now, the level two technician is usually more knowledgeable and experienced than the level one technician, but has been working for the company for a longer period of time. Now, when project cannot be resolved within a determined amount of time, the level one technician prepares an escalated work order. So the level two technician receives the escalated work order with the description of the problem and then calls the customer back to ask any additional questions and resolve the problem. So level two technicians can also use remote access software to connect to the customer's computer. You can see here that your computer can be operated remotely by technicians, and they can do this. They can operate your driver and software, access the operating system, check the BIOS, and gather other diagnostic information to solve the problem. For example, my system could not download Windows 11 update because it did not meet the requirement. But after I joined Windows Insider, so immediately what happens was that they sent an update directly from my computer system, an update that included Windows 11. Despite the fact that it was not compatible, but based on my experience, they now sent it or developer options because I'm a Microsoft insider. They now sent a specific update to me, and my system is now running on Windows 11. So the level two technician responsibilities. So these are companies that the laptop won't boot. Users, no software was added recently, no operating system changes have been made, no peripherals have been added. So you can now see that the best solution at the level one technician was unable to resolve the problem within 10 minutes. The work order is being escalated to a level two technician. So you can see a ticket or a work order that the level one technician will hand over to the level two technician. You can see the type of item, laptop summary. The person going to type in problem here, which the summary here is computer will not boot. So you see the case ID, Cisco 001 priority medium, so which means it's not very urgent. Then user platform, what operating system the computer, the client is running with, which is Windows 7. Connection type, environment, mobile. You can see wireless network connection. So script samples. A script file is a simple text file written in script language to automate processes and tasks on various operating systems. Now, this actually has to do with programming and coding. A script file might be used to automate the process of performing a backup of computer data or running a list of standard diagnosis on a broken computer. So the script file can save the technician a lot of time, especially when the same task needs to be performed on many different computers. So you should also be able to identify many different types of script files, because a script file may be causing a problem on startup or during a specific event. Now, you see, this is how this cyber has get into your system. You can see here that script files actually run and operate on their own without customers' knowledge. So they can even start as a result of you booting your system, and they begin to execute commands, collecting your data. So script files now being used by the IT professional is that they use it to solve some of these problems, get diagnosis data, or um, automatically solve your problem. So they solve, let me say they are treating 700 systems with the same problem. You don't end up repeating the task over and over again. You can now write a script, execute these commands automatically, and take it to install those codes on the different systems and run that software, and you see that all those problems are solved within a shorter period of time. So there are different script languages. We have Windows batch file, which is .bash. We have the PowerShell. We have Linux shell script, Visual Basic script. We have the JavaScript, and we have Python. So these script files actually have some extensions, file extensions. For example, when I say file extensions, you see .bat, .ps1, .sh, .vbs, .js, .py. An example of extension again is .txt. That's for your text files or your Word documents. You see .dox or .dot, .document or .document. So the different a scripting language is different than a compiled language, because each line is interpreted and executed when the script is run. So various comments found in space on the script type. Windows batch file, REM comment. PowerShell, you see the comment is represented with hashtag. Linux, you use hashtag. Visual Basic, you use the trophy for comment. JavaScript, you use the / for comment. Python, we use hashtag also for comment. I think I'll just show you a Python script after I complete this. So we have basic script commands, which is directory. For Windows bash file, we have directory, which directory actually shows you context of a directory. The cd changes the directory. Make directory creates a directory. CLS clears the screen. It's actually the set data and copy and all that. While on Linux, we have so many others. So we need to understand although everything I'm saying now might seem very advanced, but if you really understand computer programming, everything I've been saying here goes to relate. But if you have no knowledge of programming, you might not fully understand everything I'm saying at this point. So variables are like containers now that you store data into. So there are different types of variables. We have integers. Integers are numbers. We have float. We have character. We have strings. We have boolean. So boolean can either be true or false. So I'm going to explain some of these variables in using a Python script. So also we have conditional statements, which includes you can see things like not equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. You can see them different in batch. This is how they are being represented. In PowerShell, this is how they are being represented. In Bash, this is how they are differently represented. In Python, this is how they are represented. So this is equal to, this is not equal to, this is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Another Python is very, very friendly and easy to understand. Also, we have loops, different kinds of loops. So loops actually help your code to repeat a process over and over again for a specific number of time or until a requirement is met. And we have while loop, we have for loops, we have the do while loops. Okay, so I'm going to use Python right now. Let me just open my Python shell and show us. Okay, so I guess you should be able to see this Python shell now. So this is actually Python 3.10, and you will see that I can include integers. Integers are numbers, so I can try use it to execute arithmetic functions like 1 plus 1. If I press enter, you see the answer is 2 there. If I press now if I want to remember, I said variables. Variables are like containers that you put things into. Let me say variable a now equals 4. You see, it doesn't do anything. And I say b equals 6. Now, it told me to say, let me say I put a inside, 4 is a now, and b is equal to 6. If I say a plus b, you see that the answer is going to give me 10. You see that? So that's how variable works. Now, let me tell you about booleans. Booleans actually true or false. Something is true. So I can talk about let's say is 1. For example, a is equal to, remember I said in Python it's equal to twice, equal to b. See now it's going to give me false. You can see that's false. So a is greater than b. Sorry, I put b. A is greater than b. You can see false. A is less than b. You can see to give me true. That's because a is actually 4 and b is actually 6. Then let's look at loops. Let me just say, okay, let's look at condition. Now, let's say a if a is less than b, comma, sorry, if a or equals 4, I think I'm missing something here. It's supposed to be double. Okay, if a equals 4, yes, this is print b. Let me put this in brackets. No. So you can now see, I'm supposed to put brackets. Oh, if a equals 4, I'll put the colon, print It's just being capital letter. Sorry, I just keep making the same mistake over and over. If A equals for print B. Indentation error. That's indentation error. If A equals 4, then I'm supposed to put an indentation. So you can see now. Let me put another indentation then. A equals input. Okay, just remember I'm running on shell, so I'm not supposed to execute some kind of code because shell actually executes commands by itself, like immediately. So it just execution. I cannot run some kind of loops on this. So let's say that let's do it this way. If let me just show you for a for loop for I in range 2 comma 10 print I my I'm just put it in brackets. Let me just type it again. I in range 1 comma 10 So you can see now this one too is not going to execute immediately because there's no I have to run an execution command which is not possible on command prompt, but this is actually the way for loop is supposed to work. So right now it's actually supposed to give me all the numbers from 1 to 10 that are in this range that I've given now. So back to our slide. So we talked about some different actions and characteristics of the IT professional, things that you should do, things that you should not do as an IT professional. Then also you have understood some of the tasks. You have also understood that there's a level 1 IT professional, there's also a level 2 IT professional. So once level 1 professional cannot solve the problem, you automatically transfer to the level 2 professional or technician. So that's going to be the end of this IT essentials. So Right now,
Most
I'll be
likely,
taking
because you
some
you
questions.
answer really